Peace, love, and blessings to you, Sandra and Paul here. And guess what? We're pregnant!
Woo!
Super exciting. We're not gonna make the rest of this episode just about our pregnancy journey, promise you. If it sneaks in there, we can't help ourselves. But today is not going to be about that necessarily. It definitely has had an impact on some of the things that we have decided on and that we went through last week. And what we went through last week was a lesson and lessons on needs versus wants. I think that's something that I know I have struggled with quite a bit in my life. And not to say that it's like I'm constantly going shopping and getting things that I don't need, but I just feel like it's just something that we do. Sometimes we make excuses of like, oh, we need this, and we really don't need it per se. And I think that we've been super fortunate and blessed to have grown up in cultures that we're able to kind of analyze things on a more simple level. So again, me being Kenyan, Paul being Mexican, and our families not necessarily having grown up with an ample amount of things, like not having built on generational wealth or anything. We've come from places where we were living the struggle, and it was really a lot about just needs. So I think that's been super fortunate that we've had that, and it's been able to make an impact in our adult lives. And yeah, that's something that we came across this week. So we had essentially gotten his mom a car, just got it, was able to pay cash for it. It was honestly like a miracle. Like her car just went like kaput.
Yeah.
We were praying for something to find for her, and we used our wedding funds that were supposed to be used to help us get a second car to get her this car.
Yeah.
So it was just something that we felt we just had to do because
that plays into the first need and want.
Yeah.
Because we wanted another car, a second one, not necessarily needing a second car, but we were like, oh, would it be good to have a second one, like so that we don't have to make it more difficult for our job transits. But we've been totally fine with one car, so the Lord had helped us make that decision. And my mom, her car just, like how you said, it just completely just fell apart.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, well, I think we should use that money to instead buy her a car.
Yeah. So that happened last month. Was it last month?
It was
a little over a month ago. Yeah, a little over a month ago. And so, and this car is a good car. It just has like some mechanical things that pop up every once in a while, and it's been pretty frustrating for us because we wanted to give her a really good, reliable car. So it's been quite the prayer point of what to do about this. And we took to prayer, Lord, like help us to feel the peace of the right decision. Like we want to, first of all, make it extremely difficult if we go down a path and we're trying to find something and it's not easy to do. I use that a lot as like a prayer intention. Make it very hard if it's not the right thing.
Which the Lord does normally.
And help us to recognize it. I think that's the big part.
Yeah, it's recognizing, because there's already been a lot of things that like I shouldn't have gotten, but I pushed so hard to where like I ended up getting it and I didn't need it, and it ended up just being more of a problem than it was a solution. So
So that's a telltale sign. If you're really trying to get something and it's not working out, it's like God's mercifully trying to save you from making a decision that will put you more in issue, have you more have more issues.
Yeah.
So there's that prayer point, and then the peace thing. So we ended up deciding based on something a mechanic said. It was like, hey, like, why don't you guys go trade in the car? And we're like, okay, let's go see. So the trade-in value, non-existent. I mean, it's very low. And we even like went to some used car dealerships looking at cars, and we're like, oh, like this would be nice. We have a family coming. Like, how about we trade in the car, we get an SUV, and then we give his mom our original car that we had because it's been super reliable. And yeah, so that's what we're thinking. Honestly, it would have taken financing for us to get another good car. And so we had realized that having an SUV is a want versus a need.
Yeah. Because the
Go.
car that we first of all had gotten my mom, it's a big like if you've ever had like an Impala, they're like very spacious. And this it's a Volkswagen, and it's just as big. It's like a big sedan. So it works fine with space for children. So that played into a decision like why would we need to get ourselves into something else that we're going to need to pay and then live stressing out about that, paying that car off again. And then when we had enough space with this Volkswagen, so we were like, huh. Or Sandra was praying and she was like getting these points from the Lord. That was like, you've come this far, and then you're gonna also put on another thing that you need to pay for.
Come this far in terms of paying off things. We're in a really good place of paying off loans
Yeah,
and
yeah.
debts. Basically, not having any, like, thanks be to God, except for school loans.
No, well, we still have some. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, he said you like come this far, and then now you want to topple on another car that's going to bring you into an area where you need to start paying more than you'd like. And even though it's a bigger car, it's like 2 square feet tall, like 2 square feet bigger. and the price is 6 stories higher, you know?
Ooh, not like that.
So,
yeah.
But go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna wrap up that story.
Yeah, go
Because
ahead.
there was the other story about the house.
Oh,
I
yes.
just realized
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a twofold lesson. So we ended up deciding to have a conversation with his mom and say, hey, this was definitely another pride thing. Put the pride aside. We initially wanted to buy her a car, but now the plan was to give her our original car and us take the car that we bought. But we basically, I was explaining the one that we had. I'm going to call them what the names that they're called so you know what we're talking about. Ocean was our original car.
That's the name.
The Mazda.
And the
Brownie?
Volkswagen is Brownie.
Brownie's the Volkswagen. So
because it's brown.
Yes. So we told her, hey, Ocean can drive around the world and back. Like, it's so reliable, been taken very well care of, and we want you to have something that's reliable that you don't have to worry about. Let us handle Brownie, and if anything, when things come up, like, we'll be able to handle it. And so that was a major, like, pride thing for us, because we're like, but we wanted to buy you a car.
Yeah, I was feeling bad because I was like, I had bought my mom a car, and now at the end of it, I bought the car for myself. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the car that we had bought my mom was going like what my mom has experienced with her other car, like being so, what's the word? like keeping an eye on every single little thing, every single little detail, and coming from a car that like you don't know when the next problem is, so you have to look at everything. We didn't want to give her another car that had one small issue, and then she has all this stress and all this worry built up because I mean it's sort of like PTSD from the other car.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, take Ocean, and first of all, you won't even have all those gauges to look at, and it we've taken very good care of it, so it's not going to give you any problems. Like what Sandra said, is
Yeah.
it can drive on the ocean, like that's how reliable and how good it is. But and they were like, okay, and then we'll take Brownie, and we'd rather those problems come up with us, and then we handle it in our own time, rather than fixing a problem, giving it to you, and then you call us again and be like, well, it popped up again or something, or the tire's flat or something. Yeah, like I'd rather you just have a car that you can not worry and stress about, and we take over the other car and we take care of those problems, so you don't have to deal with that stress. So
Yeah. So that was for us like a major, where is the actual need right now? Like she's about to be a grandma for not just one child, but for another child that's coming in the next week or so. And today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so we need her, the need was for her to have a reliable car. Our want was to have two cars, to have an
Oh,
SUV.
it was many
Oh,
wants
wants.
actually,
Oh, go ahead.
because it was wanting. First of all, we're very blessed in the house that we have right now.
Oh, that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole nother topic,
We'll
but
discuss
we'll
that
discuss
one.
that afterwards. But we wanted a different house because we wanted a bigger backyard. Didn't need that. We wanted an SUV. We don't need that. We wanted that. It seems like we wanted the problems that come with it because we're pushing pretty hard on it. And another want that we wanted was to get, not only have two cars, but then later on the line get another car that's a hybrid or an electric car.
Vehicle.
And we're like, why? Hold on, why get an in between car that still works on gas and have to pay that off, and still probably not even finish paying it off by the time that we want to get a hybrid car? Why not just skip the middle?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, so that means that was just a want. Because if it was something that we needed, first of all, the Lord would have made it something that's very accessible. If it was His will,
Yeah.
it would have been something that's very easy to get.
Because that's generally how He works. He takes care of us
Mm-hmm.
so much. Like if there's something that His child needs,
that's good.
That's good for you.
That's good for you.
It will be available. And a lot of us don't want to have anything to do with what the Lord says that we need, because we're like, no, but I need this. And we
also tend to associate with like, well, I don't want to think about what the Lord wants for me or what the Lord knows that I need, because He just wants to give me things that are going to make my life boring. When all He wants to do is really just like pour out all of heaven's blessings on you and be like, here, have this and this and this and that. But if I see that you start going downhill, I'm gonna have to take some of them back, you know.
Yeah.
And so it really comes down to a cooperation between you and the Lord, and He really does want the best for you. It's not that He doesn't want you to have this thing. It's just probably it's not the best time for you to have it.
And we are so clueless about what the best time is. Most of the time.
Yeah.
So so one of the things that my love mentioned was the house. So that was something else that we had talked about. So we have a pretty decent like 2-story townhome. The only thing is that we have like this much of a backyard space. Like it's just a little like patio that we can fit a grill and a table. on, barely.
Barely.
And
it's like maybe 4 feet across,
covered by a brick wall. So like, so for us being outdoor people, we were just like, man, it would be really nice if we had some outdoor space, and thinking about the children, and like even before that, just having a porch to drink his coffee on in the morning, and like for us to exit, like we just had all these wants, right?
Yeah.
So we decided to take a look around and see what it was like. I mean, I think a lot of you know that if you were looking at houses, house prices are no joke right now. And we're not even looking to buy, we're just looking to rent.
Yeah.
And so even renting prices, we started to, well, we just straight up calculated. Like we calculated, what are our bills coming out? Like what would the cushion be of like what we get minus bills, minus this rent that we would pay.
And then what we would have left over
did not look pretty. Like,
first of all, we had nothing left over. We would need a pool from somewhere.
Yeah, it did not look pretty.
There was a negative in one of those.
And it was just like, yo, like if we really wanted it, we could do it. Like it's possible. It's like right at our means. But the consequence of that would be detrimental to like us being able to save, like us being able to have any other income, and we will most likely at that point need to start running into like credit cards and loans and stuff, and we're just honestly trying to live a life of as little debt as possible, just having seen life lessons within
and
our
not
own
try
family.
That's especially from our families, from what we've learned and how we grew up, where we're like, money is a big issue. Money is a huge issue that is brought about by the inconsistency to know what is a need and what is a want.
Ooh.
And there was a lot of wants that were
in our families.
They were received, bought, given. It was, and that ultimately just brought the family down financially
and caused a lot of havoc relationship wise between our parents. Like whether or not we saw it and recognized it, I think we definitely did, but I feel like when we're smaller we probably didn't see it too much. But now that we know, we're like,
this was caused by that. So
yeah, and now our parents are just telling us stories of how things happened when we grew up. We're like, wow, don't want to make that. We don't want to do that. So and
it's really a spiritual battle, because there's the desire to want everything, the desire to want to have this and that and the newest iPhone and the newest house, or the newest chair, the newest computer, the newest car, the newest clothes, whatever it may be, you know, like that's just our human instinct is, I want what's new because what's old has already been used, or I don't really know how to put words to it, but we have this desire to want something better, right? And we try to find that in things that are material, and there's never going to be something that's satisfactory for us if it's temporary. And that's where wants and needs, they come from, like, because that desire to want something that satisfies us more than what we have. And when that is a spiritual battle in itself, and the enemy really wants us to spend every single part of our lives worrying about what it is that we can get next. Materially. Yeah. It's like, well, if you have this, what if you had that, though? You know?
Actually, not even just materially. Like, we're having a conversation about like the hookup culture and people who don't have much of a home base in terms of their desires and what they want to do. So whether it's materially, whether it's like wanting to go out and do this, wanting to hook up with people and do this, like just constantly wanting more. Drugs are the same way, like wanting the next best high. Like it's, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it takes us elsewhere outside of the actual spiritual issue,
Because
which is
yeah,
what
it is a spiritual issue.
our hearts are longing for that, but we take that out into the wrong arenas. And it's really something that has been put in us spiritually, and where it really belongs is in our journey and our pursuit of Jesus and our pursuit of being more like him, in our pursuit of wanting the things of heaven, the things that we don't see, the things that we can't touch, things that are extremely difficult to talk about and explain to people,
Mm-hmm.
and explain to others, and just to put words to. But it's the things like joy and hope and peace, that when you are able to realize that that's the longing, and you get to places where you are feeling fulfilled, it brings you life. So if we went after the house, it would have brought us strife.
Yeah.
It would have brought us issues. It wouldn't be life-giving. It would be draining to our bank accounts, and just spiritually, because we'd be constantly be fighting, trying to figure out, oh, how are we going to pay for this? How are we going to do this?
Yeah.
And any other, wherever you take the journey, and whatever arena you put that, let me get the next thing, you're never satisfied. Like, what iPhone are you on right now? Like, you might not be an iPhone person, but I mean, like Paul and myself, we decided to get like a refurbished, what iPhone are we on, like 8?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
Or somewhere. We just got like a refurbished iPhone, like that is working fine. We don't need anything else. And so it's just realizing that like we don't find what we are looking for in things at all. So, and that's pretty relevant, like in, again, how we go about things. So like, we're not rocking the newest iPhone, we're not driving the newest whips. Like, both of our cars, we have a 2011 and a 2000 something, like they're not the newest cars. A lot of this whole outfit is from a thrift store. Like,
and this is not to say that we're in any way better than you guys.
No. We want to give you ideas. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Aw, I hope I wasn't.
No, that's
like
not what
that.
I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying I don't want them to think that.
No.
Oh, well, they think that they're better because they have absolutely not.
This has been a
because
journey to get here.
Yes.
Because we were walking in the mall yesterday, and I was like, the amount of money I have dropped in these stores before, like,
and where are those clothes now?
I know.
Right. So.
Yes.
But.
Thank you for saying that.
But
we're not pointing fingers at you. We're just saying, like, this is what we've learned and how we've like come to adapt, and this has been our lives. Like, all our furniture, everything, like, we get either from used furniture places, like looking things up on the like Craigslist's like next door apps. Like, we really try to minimize the overhead expenses, and it gives us room to be able to focus on like the spiritual. So yeah.
And it's a constant thing that we are battling too. It's not like we've got it all figured it out.
So much. I'll be in a store and I'm like, this, I want this. And he's like, for what? And I'm like,
and then sometimes I want something, and then she goes, for what? And I'm like, obviously, and then I try to come up with all these imaginary scenarios that I would be like, we see that's a need, that's a need, and that's a
Mhm.
need. You're like,
Oh, that's like the Fitbit. He's been trying to convince
oh
me of
yeah.
getting a Fitbit for a really
But I
long
can't I
time
can't even
now.
convince myself. I was like, I'm like, I'm like, okay, let me see why, like, what are the benefits of a Fitbit, you know? And then I start looking it up, and I'm like, if that doesn't convince me, how can I convince her? but yeah, but it's finding what are your needs and what are your wants, and there is sometimes it is very close to the line,
Mhm.
and you don't really know, is it a need or is it a want, and that's where you take it to prayer, and or you should just take it to prayer all the time, but I'm saying
Yeah.
especially in that fine line, and or maybe an obscure line, a blurry line, um it can be hard to find where, like, what's a need and what's a want. And I'm not saying like going around like, do I need this jacket? Like, do I need that one birdie for badminton?
Oh my
You
gosh.
know? It's like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, there's obviously things that are like for your leisure too, for like sports. You don't need a basketball, but in order to, if you want to play sports or something, in your own time, you need some of those things to, like, a holy leisure.
Ooh, I was gonna say that's a whole
I'm
other
trying to find a
topic.
holy leisure
Ooh,
on the
pray,
on the
pray
days.
for my love. Like rest days. What do you do that's not soul sucking and that doesn't drain you, where you come out of that time of rest feeling like versus actually alive? Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't get into that.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Yeah, but
The main point is wants and needs, and how we've overcome
he
the
keeps looking at
the wants, the wants,
used car.
the wants and needs of, for us, was a house, we didn't need it, and a car. And we're just sharing to you, like, that's how we notice. And the thing is, we don't even notice that what these things are. We do an examination of our conscience of, like, what did we learn in the week,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh. And then 20 minutes goes by, and then, oh, you know what, actually there was this, that, and this, and then
Yeah.
it's like a very Holy Spirit thing. And I'm saying that because it's not like we notice these things right away.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely
it's
not.
these things are very subtle, like, kind of in an annoying way. But yeah, it's just finding that time to reflect of, what did I learn in the week? Like, we're doing it not only for our spiritual selves, but so that we can share with you guys,
In
but it's
case
but in
you're going
case,
through
in
the
case you're
same
going through
thing.
the same thing, or in case you're battling the same mentality or idea, we're also saying for you to also take the, like, at the end of the week, maybe, like, examine what it is, what did you notice, and what did you learn, or what did you overcome, right? And if you haven't, take that day to take it to prayer and to fix it, or not fix it, but make strives um to be better.
Yes, that's what
Um,
life is about. We're not supposed to just stay the same.
yeah.
No.
But
Yay! Oh, that was great. I don't think we even realized that's what we were going to talk about.
No.
Yeah, that came out as we were talking. So that was awesome. And it was really great to reflect with you what we have learned. So we are praying for you. That discernment journey and is like constant all the time. Pray about it. See where the peace, where the peace is. And yeah, we'll just continue to keep each other in prayer. Remember, you are loved.